Hi, this is Emily with Emily Talks, and today I'm going to be talking about radical acceptance. This is something that's super important for my journey because if I don't accept reality and myself exactly as it is and exactly as I am, I'm not going to be able to make progress. And I kind of touched on this earlier when I was talking about trying to be perfect or trying to have everything ready before I acted. And that's not how the world works. So today I am getting ready to go out on a walk. I needed to do some errands today. I don't have a car. So I went to call the bus and I realized when I was calling the bus that I didn't really have a lot to do. I didn't need to be out for a long time. And I said, you know what, forget about it. I'm going to go on a walk instead. And this is important to mention because the last time that I exercised was when I exercised for that video, which was like Friday. And I talked to my weight management specialist, the nurse who does that, back on Tuesday of last week, I believe. Yeah, Tuesday of last week. And then now here on Monday, I have exercised once. So part of that is accepting that I'm not perfect and that progress does not look like doing it every day for me. Progress looks like accepting myself. A lot of what has happened to me when I start failing on something is that I truly believe these messages of I'm not worthy. I don't have the skills. I am too lazy. I am morally failing at life. And, that really leads me to feeling, what is my purpose living if I'm so incapable of doing basic tasks that are very, very important to me? So, when it comes down to radical acceptance, what this means is when I look at reality, I have to accept it exactly as it is. And the reality is that I want change. That is a reality of myself. And in order to make that change, I have to accept that change needs to happen in me. And what does that change look like? If I can't commit to doing it every day because I fail in that moment, that doesn't make me a long-term failure. What it makes me is just who I am, and somebody that struggles with internal messages of not being good enough, of, not having the right moral compass to make decisions on my own. And what that really comes down to is a huge string of what I consider are failures at things that are very, very important to me. So today, what I want to do is radically accept that I have only exercised once since Tuesday. I'm going to accept that today I have an option to exercise again by going out on this walk. And I also have an option and a choice to say, you know what, I'm going to put a bean in that jar. And I told you I'm going to bring up this a lot because it's something that's really important to me about investment, that giving myself credit for every time that I do something right is how I'm going to build myself up. And looking back at that jar, even though I've missed days, even though I've been imperfect, looking at that jar later on in the future, I'm going to rattle it and it's going to be full. Even though I missed days, even though I was imperfect, even though I felt like such a failure, even though my mind told me that I was never going to make progress. And I've already seen that happening in my life. So today I'm going to be focusing on radical acceptance. I'm going to go out on my walk and I'm going to put a bean in that jar. And part of that whole action is thinking about it, being present with it, making sure that I'm giving myself that little, ring of the bell so that I have the salivation, like a Pavlovian dog. This is really when I consciously think about, I have done the effort in the thing that I want. Instead of thinking about, you know, I failed so many times, I'm doing this out of guilt, I'm doing this out of a sense of duty and shame, and not from my own benefit and love for myself and happiness and joy. I need to think of that benefit for myself, happiness, joy. I need to put that into that bean. I need to think of that deeply and make new connections in my brain that when I have done something that is good and beautiful to me, that those parts of my brain light up. Something that I've learned on my journey about healing from PTSD and trauma and all of these different things, there's something called EMDR. It's eye movement, rehabilitation, whatever. EMDR, look it up. But essentially what it does is you think of something that you want to change, or like, you know, you change your emotions toward it, or you don't want to think of it so much, particularly with PTSD flashbacks. But also if you have complex trauma like myself, where it was just over and over and over abuse, you have to change those thought patterns. And how you go about and do that is you get into this state that's like the rapid eye movement state of sleep. This is what EMDR does in particular. And then you think of the thing, you're in this trance sort of state, which there's tons of research for it. So it's not hooky, hypnosis crap. And then you go through the memory and you reassociate the feelings that you have. You put it into a new context that comes from, a more healed perspective, so that you can be able to deal with that, put it away, and not have it continue to be an issue in your life. I don't have the ability to do EMDR right now, but I'm taking those principles of carving new neural pathways in my mind, so that when I think of something that normally would bring me feelings of shame, fear, anxiety, avoidance, and I am putting all of that, I'm concentrating my new emotions that I want: joy, I want acceptance, I want self-love, I want hope. I put all of that into this concept of the bean, and that kind of creates that new neural network, that new neural pathway for me, so that I think of the bean, I have an image of the bean, I'm putting it into this can, I've labeled the can. I highly recommend that for anybody who wants to change the way that they're thinking, to try this method. It's something that I have come up with personally, but it's definitely based on a ton of science and a lot of evidence showing that you can rewire your brain. I can rewire my brain. And that comes through radical acceptance of both reality and myself and what I am dealing with. And then choosing change, choosing to reword, and being very intentional every time that I have that moment of change, to ground it into my head that I understand what this next step is. So I really hope that this is helpful for y'all. I know it's going to be super helpful for me to know that not only am I going on this walk, but I'm also contributing to my channel. This is super important. I want to keep journaling, and I feel really empowered with creating this channel and just how much love and support I'm receiving already. Thank you so much for joining me today. Y'all have a great day.